You are now listening to the New Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time at BringDownTheBand.com, and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Sun King Brewery. Support the New Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You are now tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7 from my remote location. Shout out to Tupac over my shoulder. Y'all know what it is. His birthday today on the day we record. Let's see. The crew is in the building. My man Lonegevity, how are you, sir?
Doing all right, man. I am living the life of me.
Your 4K game is high right now.
Nah, 4K game's not really that high, but the high quality version of the camera is pretty high.
Well, what K is that? So I know what I'm talking about.
I don't know, man. I think it's 1080p probably. Right, it ain't so 4K.
Well, your 1080p game is high. How about that?
Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
My man DJ Jay Diff rocking that Printfinity. What's happening, man?
How you doing, man? I'm good. Salutations and all that.
All right.
How you doing?
Good to see you as always. I definitely I like that shirt, man. We'll be nice to get one of those down the line. Maybe one day we can work out something.
Yeah, somebody said you was on vacation in Cuba getting cigars for everybody last week. So
word?
I expect to have my cigar when we come back together.
We'll talk about it offline. We'll talk about it. Rounding out the crew, fresh to death with the Lacoste polo. Probably costs about $150. I ain't putting no plans though. My man Jay Moore, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. You know, once again, if you know how to move and shake out here, you have a clear understanding that you never pay full retail for any of the finer things in life.
No.
Goddamn right.
I feel you. Yeah, you got to
know Lacoste was a black man.
I feel you.
Actually, yeah, he's right. Man. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, you got to finagle the system, Jay Moore. I'm not mad at that. I'm with you when you're right.
Yeah. Never pay full price.
The system's built for us to win.
Sure is. Well, it depends on what system we're talking about.
I said us. I'm referring to white people.
Oh, okay. That was a privileged comment, huh?
Yeah.
So you're referring to you, not us.
Yes, me.
Yeah.
I said us, meaning, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay Diff, you got to think, brother. You use your mind. He told you that he had one shirt sent in. See how it come full circle? You see how it come full circle? Okay.
I had one.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
He just told us about his privilege, but he had just flexed with his privilege prior to that, brother.
Flex
Stay woke now. Stay woke.
And he got the flex fit this time too.
Yes.
It's the system. Everything's rigged. Everything is rigged.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Definitely is rigged, and I'm glad that you're noticing that, Michael. I will say I do like the shirt, so you know.
Yeah, it was a nice shirt. But when I had seen like a couple weeks ago, I was like, yeah, they dropping a shirt line. And then,
I was like, dang.
Yeah, I didn't want to overextend. I just threw it out there. I was like, hey, if you could send me one of them XLs, you know, that'd be nice because I don't wear hats. And he said, all right.
It was like, yeah, we'll send you 5. Which ones you want?
yeah. Color combinations.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's jump into it. I see you, Slade. My appraisal game is high. I see you. Thank you, brother. Okay, so joint that caught my attention was the bigger picture by Lil Baby. You know, he got on his, as Jay Moore was talking about before we came on, he got on in his conscious bag. Lone shared a video with Fuck the Police by YG, which pretty much was standard. You know, I figured that, you know, it's West Coast stuff. He do what he do. And then the buddy.
Pretty much fuck Donald Trump part 2.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, brother.
Minus
Nipsey. Rest in peace, Nipsey. And then the buddy joint, Black 2, which was cool. I understand it was a follow-up maybe to a first one, which I'm sleep on, so don't quote me on that.
How are you sleep on that track, sir?
The song that's like black on black, black on black on black on black, that one?
I only know the songs when I hear them. I'm bad with the names, I'll be honest. So I do know that record. Thank you for that. Yeah,
okay.
I know that record's fire. I know what you're talking
It's
about.
got like Young Ferg on it or something, I think.
Yeah. We was going to have some words after the show.
I didn't know. I'm bad. I'll be honest. I'm bad about the names, but I do know that joint. So like Kanye, man, keep me on my square, brother. Keep me on my square.
Cigarettes.
But so Jay Moore kind of jumped. He kind of mentioned this prior to us going on actually to start the show. But where are you guys at from a standpoint of, you know, it looks like when this joint dropped for the bigger picture, you know, I saw mixed responses. I saw some people saying, well, there's always conscious music out. Why is he getting all the credit for it now? And people are saying, you shouldn't touch Lil Baby's untouchable, and this is great. And I told y'all he could do this, and we gotta protect Lil Baby when we've had, you know, we just had To Pimp a Butterfly in the raffle. Like, that wasn't lit. Nobody wanted to talk about that because it wasn't hitting in the club. So with a lot of these guys that are coming out and doing quote unquote conscious records, I hate that title because, like Jay Moore said, what is unconscious? But I'll come to you first. Jay
When you
Moore.
don't think.
When you well said, Jay Moore. Kind of talk to me about that. Just the concept of all of a sudden everybody doing this, and I guess someone getting peas for it. Like, is that a turn off to you? How do you see it?
Well, it's not really a turn off because I think it's all you got to read the room. You know, you can't. I don't want to hear your song about your car or you going to the strip club or whatever. Right now, I don't like. You know, the clubs here in Indianapolis open back up next week. That's the only real. Like, I don't know if I'm really in a space where I really want to hear. Let's just keep it real. Like, I mean, of course, I got to go get my money. But, like, I don't want to hear Megan Thee Stallion, you know, rap about how whatever she raps about, you know. But at the same time, you know, people are always looking for these popular rappers, quote unquote popular, to make a statement. And I was like, look, you know, Rhapsody did a whole album about this last year and y'all didn't listen.
Talk that talk.
You know, one of my favorite albums last year was Razzcast Solo on Ice 2, which is all about what's going on right now. And y'all didn't listen.
Preach.
And so, like, now Lil Baby comes along and he got this one political record, which I like. Props to him on creating this piece of art. But at the same time, now everybody's like, oh, yeah, protect Lil Baby at all costs. I was like, wait a minute. What about all these people who've been talking about, who've been warning us, essentially, about what's coming next? And now, you know, you want to write them off, and now you're waiting on the rappers who've been rapping about nonsense. Like I'm not waiting on a Future's or Drake's political record. I'm not waiting on the Migos political record. You know, nothing against those artists. They're good at what they do. But here's where a lot of times I feel like we are so myopic about what it is that we'll accept from certain people. And when they do it all the time, we don't, you know, we're not impressed. You know, J. Cole has been dropping knowledge the whole time he's been out here. Kendrick's been doing this the whole time. And those are popular rappers. They win Grammys. They sell a bunch of records. But a lot of you be like, oh, their records are hard to listen to.
It ain't lit.
You wanna throw your hands up, you know, when their records come on because it's time, you know, it's time to protest. I just don't want people to get on the protest bag and let it be trendy. Like, even with Meek Mill, you know, especially after all he went through, he was trying to give y'all, you know, some jewels here and there in between the club records. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a balance. And like, now I just feel like I'll be honest, I don't want to hear no Megan Thee Stallion political record.
Neither do I.
Like, look,
neither do I.
I don't expect to hear that one. I don't expect
go ahead and stick with what you do. See,
the thing about the joint from Lil Baby is, like you said, you hit the nail on the head. I actually like the record. I'm not one of the people that's like, why is he getting all the P's? I'm not necessarily for that. What I'm saying is there have been so many dope records that have been quote unquote not lit, or it don't go in the club. Nobody want to hear all that. These are the things that we heard about these records, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we want to hear all that. But there were people that were telling you what's going on prior to this. Like, that's just kind of sticks out to me. But Jay Diff, jump in. Where you at with this?
I tip my hat to Lil Baby. I've always thought he was a good rapper, to be honest with you. I've said this time and time again.
You did.
But he, the thing about it is, people are so used to junk food, essentially. And even though he's a good rapper, stuff that makes it on the radio is pretty much the junk food, the shit you can throw in the microwave and access it real quick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that he dropped the song. I didn't expect everybody to jump out the window like that for Lil Baby based off that, because didn't somebody say he's like the new Lil Wayne now?
See,
Lil Wayne don't give a fuck about none of this shit that's going on. Obviously,
Lil Wayne is out here capping for the police.
Yeah, he hasn't since the levees broke on when he dropped the mixtape back then. So he's so far removed out of the loop, anybody can take his spot at this point. And he's not essentially all he has is a bunch of punchlines. But I'm happy that Lil Baby did drop something that's politically correct in today's climate, because it means a lot. I don't expect a lot of other rappers to follow suit. I better not hear Drake release anything because he's Canadian. He don't want these problems, these United States problems.
That's tough.
I'm just saying. But now, also, we didn't mention Pharoah Monch dropped a track with Styles P.
Yeah.
I missed that.
I didn't hear that. So
I missed that. Yeah. I missed that.
And he's not a stranger to dropping that type of music as well. I just hope that Lil Baby has a little more meat and potatoes on his albums from here on out. That would be a good look for him. And like I said, I think it's a good thing.
From what I've been told, shout out to my dude Nate Jeezy out in Maryland. From what I've been told, he does have a lot of personal content in terms of his life and how he deals with his sister and stuff like that. So I guess he does dig a little bit deeper. Like I said, I was a little late. I'll be honest. I pass him off as just like everything else. But once credible people started telling me no, like sit your ass down and actually listen, I started to listen, and I saw him on Flex as well. I'm like, okay, he can rap. Like he definitely can rap. So I'm trying to do a better job.
You know what I don't get about a lot of people that claim that J. Cole and Kendrick are boring. That young man sitting behind you in your cell, Major 7.
Oh, this guy. Yeah.
Is cut from the same cloth as a J. Cole and a Kendrick.
Yeah.
Nobody ever called Pac boring. And it may be because he was energetic on camera or whatever, but he had those same type songs before or prior to going to Death Row.
Shout out to my homie Jesse, who's in the thread. We had this conversation, him and my guy Tony B. I hate Tupac stans that don't truly understand who Tupac was. Like, I hate the people that try to make it seem like Tupac was trapping and was in the hood and selling dope and doing all this dumb shit. Dude was an intellectual. He was very well read. He was an outspoken guy. Like, miss me with all that foolishness, man. Tupac, what's crazy about Pac is talking to Tupac on To Pimp a Butterfly. Bruh, what's crazy is all the people that are super inspired by Tupac because he was the realest sound nothing like Tupac in interviews. They don't sound anything like Tupac.
Right.
Like, I've never understood that. I've never understood that. Like, you got gassed off a Thug Life tattoo and him spitting when he came out the court. Like, knock it off, man. Like, he's way deeper than that.
Well, the thing is with Tupac, what a lot of people miss is he comes from that revolutionary spirit. His mother being a Panther. I mean, when I didn't even think about this until I saw the Tupac movie, which unfortunately wasn't as good as it should have been. Like, imagine going into a major record label and saying, "I want to release Brenda's Got a Baby as a single."
Right.
Okay. Now here's the story of Brenda's Got a Baby. Is she got family problems, and then she gets she gets raped and winds up having to sell crack, and then she winds up dying at the end of the song. Like, if you think about what was popping in hip hop at that time, it was very much party and dance and kid and play and nothing against any of that. But like, for Tupac to say, "No, I want this."
Nicki D had a song similar to that.
That might be the most gangster thing Tupac has ever. Well, okay, he did shoot those 2 police officers and got off. Okay, that was gangster too.
That's tough.
But one of the things I think that people miss so much is, like, I like Tupac's music, but like, I'm still enamored by watching Tupac interviews all this time later, because it's like he was telling us what was coming. Like, I don't like to use the word prophet like that, but like, when you go back and you go on YouTube and start watching Tupac interviews,
Like
Yeah.
he's talking about what's happening in the streets right now, and he's been gone since 1996.
One of my favorite.
Unfortunately, I'm with you on that, but it's unfortunate truth that the shit never stopped fucking happening.
True.
So it doesn't matter what time you place yourself in time, it's going to be relevant.
I mean, it's just like Marvin Gaye, what's going on. Like, you could play that song right now, and if we didn't know the sound of music and know the history, you'd be like, damn, he's talking about right now.
Right.
Like, there's so much music that was made back then that can go right now. You could just slide it into a soundtrack as to what's going on. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Lone, I was coming around to you. I'm sorry, we got sidetracked there.
Sorry.
I know you. I know you love Lil Baby.
What's the question?
Where are you at on the artists in terms of these artists that don't necessarily make quote unquote conscious content, all of a sudden putting it out and being praised?
I don't care. I think it's great. Do it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I mean, I think there's definitely merit to the fact that there have been artists that never stop making content like this, but no, I think it's great if they want to come out and share their stances on it. None of them seemed forced. They didn't seem like they were doing it to capitalize off the moment. It wasn't like some Tekashi, Nicki Minaj stuff. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything like that. It was, so me personally, I don't mind seeing it. But it's whatever.
I could dig it. I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick before we transition. Nicole, shout out to Nicole. Nicole P's in the building. She said J. Cole is still mad boring.
Stop.
Let's see.
Stop.
Let's see. Where's DJ Lovsky said NWA tried to tell y'all in '88, and he said I was just listening to Lil Baby. It's pretty good actually. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Lovsky. I'm coming on around, man. He actually got some talent. Go ahead, Jay Diff. I'm sorry.
No, I mean just what you're saying as far as NWA tried to tell you tell everybody in '88.
Yeah.
So did KRS-One. So did Just Ice. So did D Nice.
Public Enemy.
Public Enema. Whatever. I mean, everybody. It's been an ongoing situation here. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Because the stepfather don't want to move the fuck out the house.
100%. 100%. Let's see. Jake, my man Jesse said.
Mad boring though. I don't know.
I'm in the thread. I was waiting on Jesse. He said agreed. He only raps about passing high school love notes to notes and idols. See? Mm-hmm. See what I'm talking about?
That's better than that.
He knows way better than that.
Stop it.
I don't like how they trying to. I don't like how they trying to team up in the thread, man. I don't know about that.
He also thought Nas's last album was a classic.
Oh, he did, didn't he? The EP.
Yeah.
With Kanye.
Look what he just said. His best song was "Let Nas Down." Go figure.
Boy, you just spoke that into existence. Look at that.
Nas let everybody down with that last album.
Hey, the cop shot the kid was fired. Yeah, it's perfect. I like that one.
There was a couple good tracks on. No, not that one. I'm talking about the
Lost Tapes.
Lost Tape Part 2.
I thought you were talking about the one with Kanye. Kanye got busy on the cop shot the kid. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, he did. But yeah,
or whoever actually produced it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jesse said, "I've never said that was a classic."
I don't know, Jimmy. I think I remember vaguely.
Hey, I know he was going hard for that the Kanye joint. I'm not gonna put him on blast for the Lost Tapes. I don't remember that, but he was going hard for.
I'm thinking about the Lost Tapes.
He was going hard for that Kanye joint. I do remember that, but I don't know about the Lost Tapes.
Okay.
Jay, I'm out on the Lost Tapes. All right, man. Let's see. Let's get back to what's going on. So Akon, y'all mentioned Akon last week, obviously with Locked Up 2 with your boy with the weave, but he's been in the news again. He said Akon has announced that a $6 billion construction contract to build Akon City in Senegal has started. Akon City will focus on integrating business to run on Akon's Akoin cryptocurrency. There will also be parks, a stadium, universities, and a industrial complex in Akon City. So shout out to that brother, man, for doing that. Jay Diff, I talked to you before we came on about the perception of him working with Tekashi and the rap stuff versus all the great things he's doing in the Senegal, and then you actually put me on game about some loans that he possibly was getting from China for the land. Kind of go into that, man, because I think the concept is dope, but you put me on game in terms of them and their attempts to cop land in Africa.
Well, it's been, for those that don't know, China has been on a rampage to pretty much colonize Africa. Akon came out with that, what was the energy reform or whatever?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's been said that China loaned him the money for that. So if they loaned him the money to develop that infrastructure, then essentially Africa is indebted to China there.
100%.
So if he's building this city as well, who knows how much that's going to cost and where he's getting all that money from, because Locked Up in his albums and him signing T-Pain did not garner him enough money to be able to make these moves like that. And don't get me wrong, I ain't counting nobody's pockets.
No, I feel you.
But there's no way possible that he's made this much money to be able to make these many moves in Africa.
$6 billion contract.
Yeah. So I'm willing to say that China has a hand in that as well. And essentially is selling out your country. In my opinion.
Jump in there, Long.
What's happening all over Africa is, all these investments are being made and all these loans are being taken out, knowing that people cannot repay even when the infrastructure is built, they will not be able to repay the loans. So they'll be able to just be like, all right, well, this belongs to us now based on the fact that you couldn't repay the loans. That's what's, and people are like, well, why would they do this? You got to understand, Africa controls all the natural resources that go into all of our that goes into every electronic device in the world. Like if you want to make a cell phone or a computer, there's all kind of precious metals, and you know what? Those metals are not available naturally in China or the United States or in South Korea, where all these companies that want to make these phones and all these electronics are located. They get all of that, all those natural, and this is what's been happening. Basically, if you go back to all colonialism, like basically they've been taking resources from Africa and creating wealth in other countries. And that's exactly what the Chinese are doing right now. And it's largely due to the fact that like the components that are created for these cell phones are based on natural resources that are only available in African countries.
Jump in, Long.
Nah, I don't really have much to add because I'm not too hip to any of that, but I agree with what Jay's saying. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything to say unless you have a question for me. So
no, I just didn't know what you thought about actually, to your point about what Terry said, because I thought he made up good points about China from a funding standpoint, and also
that's interesting. Yeah,
that I didn't know that part. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't either. That's interesting, and that. I mean, we're literally like shouts to Levski and the Chai said, "Damn colonizers." I mean, that's what it is. It's what it is.
No, that's exactly what it is.
So
And this is the crazy thing is like during the, when coronavirus was really getting wild, like there, of course, because there is commerce being done between African countries and China, there are, Africans who are living in China, and they had the nerve to not want to serve them at restaurants and
they're being accosted.
Yeah, they were and saying don't if these people are renting, like don't let them back in their homes. And it's like, wait a minute, like y'all are catching hell everywhere in the world because Asian people, unfortunately, when people get in a real xenophobic situation, they want to just blame whoever they think where it came from. Just like whenever 45, he always says, don't ask me, ask China. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to put it back on them. But it's a real crazy thing because it's like, wait a minute, really, this came from here.
Yeah.
And you all are going to actually find a way to blame it on the Africans who live in your country. And the thing is, it got real because, all the Chinese people who are in Africa, it was like, all right, turnabout is fair play. We're not going to, if this is how you're going to treat our people who haven't done anything wrong, that's going to be a major thing, because we're so focused on so many other things. This has been a constant thing happening in the last 6 to 8 months. There's a lot of tension between these African countries and the People's Republic of China.
Very low key. Very low key.
It's a complicated story, so we're not paying a lot of attention to it because there's so many other things sitting right in our faces right now. But people forget there's more going on than just police brutality and coronavirus.
For sure.
Jump in there, Lone. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, and to all these points being made, ownership is important. And when you talk about, I remember when I first heard the idea of even Akon building a city or whatnot, it was great. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess he's got he's got all the funds to do it. Then I heard about China, but this goes on. This is connected all the way down the line, in my opinion, across the board when we talk about ownership and even the movements that are happening in America right now. And even the latest thing that I saw you post a little bit about, Mike, about the NBA and Kyrie and all that stuff. But, the things that a lot of these players are suggesting are to, it's the same thing we talked about with the NFL, create our own thing. Because at the end of the day, you can go play for the best sports league out there, as quote unquote, right? But who owns it still?
Right.
And that still matters. And so, and representation matters. So, definitely. I don't know. I think it's the same concept across the board. I guess is my reasoning of mentioning that. With that is it's to Killer Mike's point of kill your masters, and all that stuff. So I'm happy people are waking up to it. It's,
my thing with Kyrie was just based off who Kyrie is from his he's a conspiracy theorist, a flat earther, all that type of stuff. You got a right to your own opinion. That's cool, whatever. But I'm looking at it like fam was coming out of nowhere with all of this Kyrie Luther King type stuff, and I just don't know if it's legit. And Matt Barnes from All the Smoke, shout out to Matt Barnes and Stephen Jackson. He said what really happened was that Kyrie wanted to go to Orlando to support his teammates, even though he's injured, and they said that he couldn't come. So now all of a sudden everybody's on the phone and they're saying we shouldn't go. And then the initial thoughts were to don't be a distraction. It's bigger than basketball. We don't want to have anything to do with basketball. Let's not be a distraction. Now we want to start a whole league and play basketball. So I'm like, what is the agenda, fam? What are we trying to do here?
Isn't it not connected though? I mean, can't you have both? Regardless of Kyrie's quote unquote character or whatever you want to name it, the very first thing that I saw was something along the line of there's more important things in basketball right now. And that if basketball comes back, it's going to take the focus. It's going to be a distracting focus. It's going to distract things away from what's going on right now.
What's really going on now? Right now.
I don't understand why people think that only one thing can go on at the same time.
That's my point.
I don't understand people's train of thought that this can't be going on over here and this can't be going on over here. That anytime something new happens, it's a distraction. It's what type of one-track minded people are we dealing with out here?
Yeah, but are you saying that there's really no merit to? I mean, think about where we are and what had to happen in America for us to have the protests at the to the extent to where everything is right now. We had a pandemic where everybody was locked in place. We had the NBA stopped. We had all media, all sports stopped essentially, right?
Yeah.
All people have is video games. And all of a sudden, Memorial Day happens. Everybody's out, undistracted, whatever you want to call it. And then, around the same time, all the George Floyd stuff starts to emerge and blows up. Do you think And this is just a general question, you guys. Do you think that that all the movements across the world would be happening without everything that has been happening with everybody, with the distractions being out of place?
Okay, so
I'm just curious if you think that.
I think they probably would, honestly.
I disagree there.
I don't think they would. Personally, I don't. But
so you're saying that if everything was going as planned, like in the world, and there were no lockdowns, that none of this would have happened.
I think the bigger point that I'm getting to is that we are humans and we like to be distracted. And whether or not we enjoy the NBA, which we can be multiple faceted people, as you said, we can like something over here and do something over here. I feel like the reason why it blew up so big was because people were less distracted. And that's
I can't on that, but at the same time, when the Trayvon Martin thing happened, there were protests all over the country. And there was some filtered around the world as well. But I think what it did, it just came to a head at this point in time, man. And it's playing devil's advocate, saying what if at this point, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't really know what would have happened.
But to Jay Diff's point, when Trayvon Martin did happen, LeBron having the platform of the NBA with the NBA at that moment actually helped bring the awareness with the hoodies and Miami and all that. So I can see that side of it. But what Talone spoke to, I actually had this conversation the other day. Shout out to the homie Jesse. We were talking about this earlier today. And part of me, there's a fan in me that wants to see basketball. I can admit that. There's a small bias of me that wants to see basketball. We also two things can be true. I can also comment on Kyrie's quote unquote intentions, because I'm a firm believer that if there were a 2 seed healthy with Kevin Durant, none of this shit would be going on in terms of him making these phone calls. That's just my opinion. But at the same token, what Lone said, I actually do agree with from a standpoint of this being a unique situation and a unique time from an awareness standpoint. I do not think it would be as quote unquote lit in the streets if people were still at work. Do you see people missing work and still going out there to protest and be in the streets as active as they are now?
I never stopped working.
Huh?
Right.
No,
I never stopped working.
But I'm saying the people that were furloughed or fired or whatever, like, I feel like people are more accessible now to get out in the street and become more active. So that part I do think
other countries opened up before we did, though.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Like so we're not even all the way through our stages. The other countries are already through their stages, and some of them are actually going back into quarantine, for what I'm hearing. I don't know how much truth is behind that, but
okay.
I think essentially we still would have had the same outcome. It may not have been as many days in a row, or because most of the big protesting happened on the weekend anyway.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. If you think back to when the Rodney King verdict came out, hell, they rioted for 6-7 days straight. And
I think the thing
the whole
is,
damn city, whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
Yeah, that was real bad. Yeah.
What makes this different is, like I said, we are bereft of content, especially in the way of sports. There are all these people who are at home. I agree with Lone, just because I think this is why there's been so many white people who are like, wait a minute, I can't, because they can't ignore it.
Yeah. This
is the first time where it's been a situation where, like, I can't just turn the channel and look at something else.
Right.
Especially because it's almost like I brought this up to a friend of mine, and they were like, well, the police are trying to change things, and they want to. I was like, look, the only thing I've seen them change is, in the interest of fairness, they've been beating up and accosting white people as well. Instead of actually trying to say, okay, we're not going to do this to black people, they said, okay, we're going to spread the beatings and shooting people in the face with rubber bullets and tear gas canisters. We're going to spread it around now. Like, that's the crazy thing. And I think this is what people are seeing for the first time, where it's like, oh, okay, the police really, when everybody's been talking about the defund the police. Like, I understand. I think we talked about it a little bit.
Maybe.
I want to clear something up too, because
Go ahead.
When you say defund the police, a lot of people essentially think that means get rid of police or get rid of law enforcement. That's not what that means.
Okay.
I mean, people still go to school, and the schools are funded.
Fuck them. Get rid of them.
You have to send your child to school with glue and freaking boxes of Kleenex and pencils for the whole fucking class because schools are defunded.
Okay.
It's shut down. It's still going on, but it's defunded. What people are saying is let's stop putting money in the police's hands in order to buy all this equipment, toys essentially, to come out and use them against you.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we can say fuck the police.
Well,
get rid of it.
I think a whole new system needs to be put in play, if you ask me, but you know.
Defund, dismantle, disband, fuck them. Exactly. That's how I feel. But I mean, yeah, ideally, you know, and I think it's so easy to get distracted right now with the little wins, you know, and maybe
goddamn statues coming out. I mean, I'm with it, but fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's part of me too. Like when I saw Kyrie's thing, I was like, whatever. But then I saw Dwight Howard share something. I was like, yeah, to me, that's the way that I felt. I was like, there's so much momentum right now, and we don't get this type of momentum very often for like real change to happen. And I know as soon as the NBA starts back up, it's going to switch. It's going to flip. And so just for me, like I feel like the same thing will happen once concerts come back too. It's not just the NBA, but in general, you know, it's really cool to kind of see that focus on stuff that actually matters, you know, at least from my perspective.
But they can essentially use this time in order to create that platform. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just feel like this isn't like a 1 month thing. You know what I mean? Like, or a 2 month thing. You know, if the NBA didn't come back for another 5 months or something, I don't know. You know, obviously I do feel like people can do multiple things at the same time. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But, you know, the people with, you know, is LeBron going to be more powerful with his initiatives that he's doing if he's working on them solo, or if he's trying to get that championship to compete with Michael Jordan's legacy? You know what I mean? Like, you know,
I think LeBron. I think
LeBron have an asterisk by it any damn way.
That was just a hypothetical, right? I'm just saying, like, obviously when NBA is on, he's going to be focused on that, you know, and you know, we look to people like him, who's one of the greatest role models of our time, you know, and celebrities alike that have the money and have the capability, have the influence to be able to push things. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel. But I you know, it doesn't take anything away from him or any of the individuals or anything. It's just
there's a lot of gray area on this one. Every time the few times I've had the conversation, like, you know, there's certain things that pull at you, you know, when you look at the pros and cons on each side, and you know, so it's kind of tough to kind of navigate through. But
even more so, like we deserve a distraction. You know what I mean? Like, so I get it.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
But my whole thing is, like, when I see some players, they're like, well, you know, I mean, there's too much going on the streets right now for us to be playing basketball. Okay, I can see where your point is with that, but what are you going to do during that time? Like, are you just saying that because it sounds good and it sounds
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, or are you just saying that because you really don't have a chance at the championship this year and you're worried about your playoff share? Like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Like, when, you know, nothing against, you know, I understand, you know, because I'm like, nothing. If this was Chris Paul, who's been very vocal and adamant about a lot of these things and been a leader in the league, but like, I'm not trying to, like, nothing against these brothers personally, but Dwight Howard and
right,
you know, Kyrie Irving. Now y'all want to step up, and the thing is, like, I'm not sure if you saw the statement that Dwight Howard released, but I was like,
the white around your lips.
This isn't like, you know, because I hate to ever dip into respectability politics because I feel a certain way about that. But it's like, fam, could you run this through a spell check before you release?
There were a lot of six in his statement.
Yeah, I was like, fam, like that. If I put that through my word processor, it's mad red lines under it.
Yeah.
You know,
I
somebody
guess when it comes to
Grammarly
this,
is free.
it's
very free.
and
Very
there's
free.
ads about it all over the place. But I feel about the same way about that as I do about, young Lil Baby's music, putting out the music that he's,
Little baby.
young Lil Baby's music.
Damn.
Young Lil Baby.
How many babies are there? There's a whole bunch of them.
Too many for me to count.
But I think my point is I'm okay with them putting this music out right now. I'm okay with other people stepping up that typically wouldn't. If it means that they may be more active in the future. So.
Okay.
But I understand, both sides, obviously. So
let's we did not let me get it. I want to make sure that we actually did on our raffles, but make sure that we shout out all of our partners here real quick. Shout out to Printfinity. We know the owner of that company, my man DJ Jay Diff. They got those masks on deck. I actually saw a couple of them that you shared today, brother. They look pretty good. Got some dope designs. Custom
Were those
work.
Sunnies? Were those for Sunny?
Yeah.
So he does a lot of great custom work there. If you got ideas that you want to see come to life, see my man. He got some good stuff going on. So shout out to Printfinity. Indie CD and Vinyl. We actually just raffled off, 3 albums? 4 albums, I'm sorry, from them.
And they are hosting us on their Twitch right now. So
shout out to Indie CD and Vinyl. They are one of our fairly newer partners. We Loans had a relationship with them a little longer than us. I've gotten a chance to know them of late, and they do great stuff, and I love that store. So we really appreciate them coming on and helping us out with those raffles. Sun King Brewery, also our newest partner. I don't have a can on deck. I don't know who has who's repping today with the merch. There we go.
I'm fresh out.
But shout out to them. We are really looking forward to possibly expanding on the relationship that we have with them once everything quote unquote opens up and we can kind of get back to some normalcy here. So we appreciate them. No Bad Ideas. We raffled off 2 or 3 hats.
4 again.
4 again. Sorry, 4 and 4. Thank you, sir. We raffled off hats from them. There's one there. So shout out to No Bad Ideas. They have been with us since day one. We really appreciate them. And then Bringing Down the Band, as always, is the hub. As I always say, make sure you search for Bringing Down the Band on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you can stay in tune with everything that is involved with NOH. Dope
Of course,
releases,
Dr. Coleman as well.
And did I forget Dr. Coleman? No.
You did?
I was about to say it. Shout out to Dr. Coleman and Broad Ripple. Make sure you get your teepers right. What's the number, Long?
Shoot, I don't know. 317 something 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 something.
Look him
Look
up.
him up. Coleman Dental.
Yeah.
KOLMAN.com. Or
Yes.
Coleman. Not actually. I think it's ColemanDental.com. So.
Okay. Shout out to Dr. Coleman. Good guy. We really appreciate him as well and all of his contributions to the movement. Okay. So I guess we could talk about a little music before we get out of here.
Music.
I want to talk about WARAQ.
You want to talk about WARAQ? We
Yeah,
can talk
man.
about we can talk about WARAQ. So
What y'all know about him?
I don't know if the thread know about WARAQ,
I
but
don't know anything about WARAQ.
let's just kind of if we can, Long, let's pull up a video. You got anything on cue for WARAQ? Queued up?
Yeah, give me a second here.
Let's
WARAQ.
Yeah, let's get a people example of how the culture's expanded out here to Rhode Island. And
This is the new Griselda, straight out of Rhode Island.
yeah,
Is that what this is?
Yeah,
they-
Rhode Island in the building.
yeah, they dissing 6ix9ine, they dissing everybody. Let's take a look at these young.
Let me see here. Let's switch over to.
Let's take a look at these guys and see what's popping.
You guys here at all?
Oh yes, oh yes.
All right.
Oh yes.
Fucking, you know how we get down, baby. Yo. WARAQ better than your favorite MC. Blueface watches us, it gets filled with envy. We always got the public
Facts.
of America in a frenzy. With our phones in our hands, we always fucking ready. J. Cole,
Hey.
Kendrick Lamar, and even Eminem can't match us. We spit hard bars, ain't nothing but mad tough. Give nothing but mad love. WARAQ the fucking best, the rest just mad tough. Fuck Drake, fuck T-Pain, fuck the
Hey.
whole mainstream. If you ain't WARAQ, then we not on the same team. I don't
At
care
all.
who told you, we soldiers, quick to fold ya, hard like boulders, nobody cold.
Hey!
Oh, yes!
If we clowns, then we the Joker. We'll choke ya while we
with the
roast
random
ya.
door, though?
We fucking gangsters.
Got extra white.
War plans, bitch. We'll flank ya, bake ya, spit in your face after we thank ya. Knock out your lights and don't wanna think twice. You're risking your life. Make your heart stop when I'm in the drop top.
For the culture.
I got drops. I never ran from fuck cops.
Is he footworking in the back?
In the cut to take out your weak knees. Hey,
Look like
yo,
he's
Chiefies.
Hey, let's
look
go.
where he came out of. I'm up under the porch.
Yo.
I grabbed some play pagans and segregate them, no separate section to the serpents beheaded.
Hey.
I'm in the phone doing phones and got a bottle of corn foam on the phone bones and got more stone for y'all.
I got a four blowers and a core boards and a core.
Dude sounds like Chris D'Elia.
Hey. Now introduce
Hey.
WARAQ's new artist, 𝗀𝗲 Mamba.
Hey, it's hammer time with the hammer.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
the toughest in the group.
They're from Muncie. They could be from Muncie, man.
Yeah, I'm balling, but I ain't talking hoops. Just me, and I'ma take your whole crew. Snatch the chain and watch who they run to. Yeah, like these cigarettes.
Who do you think they're running
get
to?
Smoked. Yeah, when I
Hey.
get to punching, I look like the Hulk. Yeah,
Hey.
walking the ACI and they all stand to a halt. WARAQ in the bank, and we aiming for the vote.
Boom, boom, we aiming for the vote, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Hey.
Big
Hey.
W's.
Big W's in the
Big
place,
Big
huh?
W's.
Hey,
All right.
look,
The future is here.
Derek's about
first
to
of
come
all,
home right now, you
these
guys.
are the white people
I'm
who've
not
been
sure how
starting
he's gonna
fires
react to
at the
this,
protest.
but I'm dressed like a stripper and I'm talking.
I wouldn't even give them much credit.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to give them that much because that's tough. These guys clearly are the future. They have gone viral, and I thought it was satire. Like I thought people was just playing around, joking, but
Oh, they're not.
no, they're serious. They're dead
No,
serious.
I think this is real deal, man. This is what we've all been waiting for, man. You know, Griselda needs some competition out here.
Hey.
So
That one guy
this
came.
Griselda crew from Rhode Island. I see a couple people saying Muncie. Damn,
Man, I know they
I need some
disrespectful.
Hey,
I ain't gonna do them like that. I ain't gonna do Muncie like that.
We can't do Muncie like that, Jay.
We
I
can't
don't
do
know
them like that, man.
that one
Muncie,
guy.
they still in the family. If we want to come down to a Muncie, still in the family. But these cats are from Rhode Island.
What you say, Long?
That man came out from underneath the house and said the chloroform is next to the forward, with the porous is next to the corner. It's like, what is he
Like I
talking
said, he
about?
sounds like Chris D'Elia when he's doing his Eminem impression.
He did sound just like him. But what was that random door doing just propped up against the bush?
You know, honestly, that's the best part of the whole video when he just drop kicked the door.
Yeah, and then
That
ran
was pretty
away.
impressive.
I don't
Then
know,
he
man.
came
What-
back as WARAQ's new artist.
Yeah, and he had
Mamba.
and he had the hammer with him.
Pale Mamba,
It's
though.
hammer time. Hammer time.
I'm the pale mamba.
Big W's.
I'm
We
the
gotta
pale
see-
mamba. I got
gotta
another
see-
video. You want to watch
we
the
gotta
other one?
Y'all ready to book them when everything opens back up?
I want to meet the dude that come out all the time underneath the door in the trunk. The goon. That's the one I want to meet.
He be coming out of everywhere.
Yeah,
Hey,
WARAQ.
The vinyl said Mars Hills bars. That's accurate.
WARAQ in this bitch and we going to war,
Hey.
baby.
Let's
go. Let's go. Look, we the best group that came out since Wu-Tang. And y'all already
Hey.
know we getting the most poo-tang. Y'all want to hate? Well, then fuck you, man. Take your boo. What the fuck you gonna do, man? Absolutely nada. White boy, but bitches call me Papa. Y'all like Snitch 9 the way y'all talk.
I don't get it.
WARAQ out here and we really do got them choppers. See Klaus like a
Ooh.
drug.
His feet, so
Y'all got
he
it?
can't
he-
stop moving his feet.
No names
And
trying
happy
to diss,
feet
but look, we
motherfucker.
already made it.
Hey,
That's
dude
how
on the
we
left.
got. We
Dude
going
on the
after
left
the
is like
snitch who be writing
Flea
statements.
from Red Hot
See
Chili
your
Peppers.
opinions? Mean absolutely.
He does,
How
actually.
y'all not support WARAQ, but support a WARAQ? If I ever see that man, he knows he getting slapped. Shout out to Treyway. WARAQ got y'all back. You see, Snitch
I'm cool.
9, he was put back.
Yeah.
on
I don't want to hear that no more.
WARAQ bout to break.
You
Look,
got a
you be
fat
mad. They gonna be
forward
booked at the
dude jump
Vogue
out
next
the
year.
trunk.
Terry got uncomfortable when he said, "Shout out to Treyway, we got y'all back."
I'm sure that's what Trey Ray
Who
wants
got
to hear right now.
uncomfortable?
Huh?
Who got uncomfortable?
Hey, I thought that might have bothered you a little bit, man.
Nah, I could care less about a Treyway and WARAQ and whoever their new artist is.
We got to save that clip, man. WARAQ's new artist. All right,
Hey.
let's see.
War is extremely dangerous, and it saddens me to have to take things to deadly measures.
That's what we're gonna wrap off next month is a
WARAQ
record
album
deal with WARAQ.
Hey man,
You can be that new artist.
I know those young men are viral in Rhode Island. Real quick, man, before we get out of here, I think we got a little time before we get out of here.
We got about 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right. So The Big Bang turned 14, which I think is one of Busta Rhymes' best albums, in my opinion. And it just turned 14, which is crazy because I remember when that album came out. Stevie Wonder's on there. Rick James is on there. Dr. Dre had some great production. I think, DJ Scratch had some heat on there. I love that album, man. Like we always talk about Busta Rhymes' catalog. I know, Long, you mentioned that sometimes too about all the things that he's actually done. I got a top 10 of things that I've actually.
Remember, I said Busta Rhymes is greater than Nas.
You did say that. You sure did. And once I got over that, I thought about after I figured out how foolish that was and knew that you were trolling.
No, I wasn't.
I did.
Not at all.
I know you're dead serious.
Dead serious.
But I got 10 things that I didn't know about Busta. So I'm gonna run through these real quick. And that album was fire. I love that album. Number one, he once held a record in the Guinness Book of World Records for Look at Me Now. I didn't even know they was tracking that. Y'all remember that joint that everybody was doing the contest on?
No.
You talking about with Chris Brown?
Yeah. He got into the Guinness Book of World Records for that joint.
For what?
Fastest words in a certain amount of time, I believe is what it's called. So and he actually killed that.
I can't even like fake do what he does.
Bruh.
Right.
Yeah, he did that on the radio. Blew my mind. I heard him do it on a live show on the radio. Blew my mind. His rap name comes from a former football player.
Yep.
So I didn't know that. So I guess
Chuck D gave it to him.
And Chuck D gave it to him when he originally came out. He was on the rap moniker Chili Old Ski because everybody had ski on the back of their names back then. And then Chuck D gave him the name Busta Rhymes for Minnesota Vikings player George Busta Rhymes. So it stuck. I did not know that one.
Start calling him George from now on.
He probably would not appreciate that
at all. But Busta been in the weight room too, so I'm cool on calling him George.
He is very bulky.
It's
a lot of sandwiches too.
Don't do that. Busta, I ain't say that. Number 3, he's been featured on more than 300 joints. I did not know that. I mean, Long, we always talk about his we always talk about his catalog as a rapper, but I did not know he's been on over 300 joints.
I'm telling you, man.
Busta been out there, man. Busta Rhymes has only had.
Is that just features, or is that like albums and songs together?
I think it says he's been featured on more than 300 songs. So like
that's crazy.
Guest appearances. Let's see. Number 4, Busta Rhymes has only had one debut album at number 1, and that was The Big Bang. I didn't know that. And with his catalog, you'd think, I don't know, ELE or When Disaster Strikes or something.
There's a lot of heat coming out at that time. At the same time.
Yeah,
right.
That's
you know
the
what?
issue.
You know what? That's a good point, Terry. Good point on that one. But Big Bang was the one that debuted at number 1, so I didn't know that. He left Leaders of the New School before getting a record deal. I think I knew that one because they was beefing.
Interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah, they did not get along.
Who was in Leaders of the New School? Was Charlie Brown?
Charlie Brown, Dinko D.
Yeah, Dinko D, Charlie Brown. I think it was just them.
Yeah,
there's a 4th member.
What's my man's name? What's the 4th dude name? Oh, I have to look it up because
Dragon Master.
Don't do that.
I couldn't even tell you.
PTA was dope though. Let's see. He once was a clothing designer. He had a clothing
Bougie,
yeah. And you can only imagine what that looked like. I don't even remember that line.
There were 5 people in Leaders of the New School. Busta Rhymes, Charlie Brown, Violent J, Dinko D, and Cut Monitor Milo.
Milo.
Okay.
I forgot about Milo.
Violent J.
Remember Violent J.
Don't do that. I think Dinko, Milo, and Charlie Brown were on Scenario. Who all was on Scenario? Everybody was on Scenario.
Remember.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown.
I know Dinko and Charlie Brown were definitely on Scenario.
Yeah. Okay, that's 2, and then Busta. All right. Let's see. Getting a record deal was the reason for growing his dreads. I didn't know that. He said, let's see. The actual reason was far less cultural. They thought it was because he's of his Jamaican heritage. But he said once he got his record deal, he didn't want to have to comb his hair, cut his hair anymore because he didn't have to. So he just started growing dreads.
I'm confused. So when he was in Leaders of the New School, you're saying that he quit before he got his record deal, but he had dreads in that video, and that video would essentially mean they had a record deal, right?
I don't know, man. Facts are facts.
Perhaps. But
he had dreads in the Sob Story video.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm just going off the list, man. I ain't got nothing for you.
Maybe they became more permanent. I don't know.
More prominent dreads. I don't know.
Or maybe he decided at that point. I don't know.
That list is from China.
Don't do that. List. It says he's the Susan Lucci of rap because I guess she was nominated for 18 Emmys since 1978 and finally won one in 1999. For all of his videos that came out, and Busta's video game was through the roof. He got nominated for 15 MTV Music Award Best Videos and came in second. Yeah. And I don't think he ever won. So
that's crazy.
With as cold as his videos were back in that $1 million budget era, that's crazy to me. If you think about it.
Like for him to not win anything for Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See, or hell, even Dangerous or What It's Gonna Be with Janet Jackson. Come on, that was like a $2 million video.
Bruh, the budget was stupid, and they had all the they had a liquid, whatever you want to call it, Terminator sitting there.
𝗏𝗏 was dope.
Yeah,
the remix.
That was a remix.
Was it the Harlem joint?
Yeah, the Harlem Nights.
Depending on when you bought the album, like you might have just got the regular version, or you might have got the Pharrell version.
The remix is better than original to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree.
Let's see. He said he said in an interview he would have rather have been a member of Tribe Called Quest than doing any of the Leaders of New School or anything like that. I could see that. That's not.
Can you imagine Tribe with Busta in it though? That'd be crazy.
I think it would be crazy, but would it have worked the same?
I don't know. I think. I don't know.
He was on each of those records.
He was.
He was all over.
The last one.
Yeah. Was that? No. What did they sample from? You know what? I'm tripping because I'm thinking of Midnight Marauders when they sampled.
My joke was Rhymes Galore. He was all
Rhymes Galore.
Yeah.
I never liked that track. That's the one I didn't really like. Rhymes Galore, Rhymes Galore, Rhymes Galore, Rhymes Galore. But,
but either way though, he's been associated with them forever. So I don't know. It probably would have worked, Lone. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been interesting. Like he definitely is a really dope MC. So like with Fife, Busta, and Q-Tip all in the same.
I'm still.
It probably would have been a little more energetic, maybe.
Tribe Called Cast still hurts my feelings, man. So I ain't gonna bring that up.
You did,
even though I just did. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Jared.
you did do that.
Don't do that. And the last one is Sean Connery isn't a fan of Busta Rhymes' lateness. So when shooting the film Finding Forrester, Busta arrived 2 minutes late, and Sean Connery handed him a late slip and didn't say a word to him.
That's amazing.
So, but they say Busta Rhymes played it like Pac when he got shot 5 times and just took the slip and smiled. So whoever wrote this shit, I don't know if that's a bad analogy, but whatever. But the fact that Sean Connery handed him a late slip is hilarious to me. That's great. That's crazy.
That's my namesake.
Well, you know what's crazy about the Big Bang Theory? Like, I was running a record pool at the time, and this is when I first noticed the record business going into recession. Because Big Bang Theory was a #1 record.
I bought it.
And
as did I.
Everyone was still disappointed at the numbers.
Yeah.
And it was a steady decline because this is when, the internet was popping. This is when Serato was first, being introduced. DJs were first using that. And there just wasn't this urgency to go buy records. So, like, had it came out 2 or 3 years before, it had probably done 700,000-800,000, because once again, Busta Rhymes was on Aftermath. They had that whole Interscope, Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine machine behind it. I had a Big Bang Theory T-shirt that I had been sent. I had so much promo vinyl, it was crazy. But it still, I think, maybe did 350, 400, which if somebody did that now, they'd be like, wow, that's incredible. But like at that time, you know, like I said, it was the beginning of the recession in the music industry before it had really made its change into digital.
I got the actual numbers.
Yeah.
It opened at 209.
Yeah, that was a big, that's even less than I remember. Yeah, 209, those were, you know, until we realized what was going on within the record industry, it was like, oh shit, Busta flopped. #1 album with 209,000 records sold. Like, you got to understand, there were people coming out doing 500,000 a week. You know, if you know she had a hit song. There was hit songs in the song, the remixes. Everybody knew this album was coming out, and it still only did 200,000 records. That's when I was like, okay, things are about to change, and it was diminishing returns after that, even for big records.
To your point, it only sold 613,000 copies after the opening week. Wow. So people were doing 5s and 6s, like you said, in the opening week. So that definitely was starting to, you know, show the change back in 2006. So
yeah. So you're talking about an album that didn't go platinum, and like I said, they had a ridiculous machine behind it. But at the same time, after that, we started to see albums not go platinum anymore. Like I remember even when Jay-Z came back out with Kingdom Come, it was like, oh, this is going to save the record industry. It did well, but like, you got to understand, like, even with that, it was, it still didn't do even what Jay-Z numbers are used to. And they had a rollout with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Budweiser.
Who, Jay?
Yeah, that was his first album out of retirement too.
Yeah. But it was just a thing to where all these records by artists who you're like, okay, it's gonna fix itself. Like, you know, once this artist comes out, because I remember that's around the time like that second group of G Unit albums came out, and none of them hit.
None of them hit.
None of them. Now those albums weren't as good as that first grouping of G Unit albums, but also people just were not buying records. If you guys remember when you used to go to Best Buy and the whole middle of the store was CDs?
Yeah.
When the last time y'all been into a Best Buy? Anybody?
I
actually went in there right before
I ordered some stuff from Best Buy last month.
Well, you know, y'all know what I mean. Before,
I went in there. The CD section is very slim now.
Bro, it's like rows
of CDs, but that's not the case. To Jay Moore's point, when you walk in a store, it will be CDs sitting there like the ones that just came out for the week. And then you have to go to the actual CD section, which will be about 2 to 3 rows of CDs.
I remember going to that section and being like, yo, they got these joints, $9.99, the new releases, boom, pick you up 1 or 2, be on your way. Now you can't even find a CD in there.
Look,
the
CD
new
section
was $9.99 that first week, and then they went up to what, $14.99?
$14.99.
That's why you had to get it that first week.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We was in there.
But the thing is, like, that's why a lot of Best Buys have had to restructure, because now it's not even, of course, music is been gone. Like, they have one little section that has a few CDs, and most of them are like greatest hits compilations and whatnot. But like now, people don't buy movies like they used to. They got a little smaller section for movies. And the big thing that's going to happen is this next generation of video games, other than the hardware, people don't, I mean, I have a couple physical video games, but now I just get everything digitally. I don't go to GameStop or Best Buy to get a video game.
Man. I know Lone know about that.
The only PS4 game that I have is the first game I ever got for it.
Right.
Everything else is in my library. So,
yeah.
But you know, shouts to especially one of our partners, Indian City and Vinyl. Shouts to them for continually being innovative in ways that they get music to people and what they share.
But that's the crazy thing is more people buy vinyl now than buy CDs.
Yeah.
Hell, New cars don't even come with CD players.
I saw a whole section of vinyl in Walmart. I had to do a double take. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And they had some heat. Jimi Hendrix, like I saw some heat.
I mean, even more so, like my new computer doesn't have a CD drive, and it's the first time, and I bought it, like a month or so ago, and it's the first time I've never really needed one.
You don't miss it at all.
I think my MacBook, I think, is a 2016 model.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have a CD drive on it.
They were ahead of the game.
I would talk about my computer, but Terry get mad. Did I forget anything else? Did we forget anything?
I can care less about your computer, Jack.
We can wrap it up for the show.
All right. I know Jay Moore got obligations with that child support, so we appreciate everybody that's in the group, that's in the thread, that's in the chat. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. Continue to be with us. Come back next week. Talk with us. We're going to go ahead and get out of here for the entire crew. I am Major 7th again. Make sure you go to Bringing Down the Band's YouTube page. Search it, find it, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so you can stay in the loop with everything that we have going on. That is the hub for everything NOH. And we will see y'all next week. Peace.
See ya.
In a minute.